Despite freedom of speech being a somewhat controversial and hard discussion during the current pandemic, something that everyone wants in some way or another, whether it's going out whenever you want or unlimited usage of your phone, that is some sort of freedom that everyone sort of wants. For many people around the world, freedom of speech, expression and opinion is something that they want. However, they seem like a given, but independent journalists are shamed and censored regardless of their opinion, whether they share no opinion, whether they share the same opinion as what they're reporting, or whether they're just seeking the truth. When you hear the word censorship, you usually think of a post being blurred. You can still view it. However, usually that's actually not the case. YouTube censorship actually removes the video completely and gives you a strike. After 4 strikes, including the warning strike, your account is completely removed and you can't post on it anymore. No matter how logical and appropriate reasons may be, an opinion on a controversial subject can cause people to stop accepting you completely. If your opinion is due to the way you've been raised or a personal experience, or maybe it's just something that you've read, you can still be shamed, hated, and lose friends because of it. How much factual data you may have to back your points. If it's something someone doesn't like or agree with, you might have to prepare yourself for criticism, judgment, and reduction in respect. I know that during my journalism, even though I've only started out for 2 months so far, most of my school friends, well, not friends, but school acquaintances, they shame me for it. They call me a murderer because they think I'm going to bring the virus back into the school, which actually has not happened at all. So you can tell from my personal life, even though I don't share my personal opinion on the pandemic at the moment, I'm still shamed for it, for what I'm doing, even if it's just exposing the truth. There's a massive difference between an argument and a debate that I think some people don't realise. An argument is something that you might want to win. Someone's aiming to win and convince the other person that they are right. A debate is when people do share different opinions but respect each other for it. They both have statistics and factual data to back up their points, and they both calmly debate which one is true. But they both agree to disagree at the end, and they may change their mind, they may not, but they don't mind. Censorship in media is something increasing throughout the pandemic about any matter. Even things such as the Save the Children movement against paedophilia is something that's censored quite a lot. Even when the mainstream media report Save the Children or any type of protest that I have been to so far, they have lied about it completely and framed us for things we have not done. Ranging from Instagram to YouTube, I'm censored extremely through my journalism on my accounts about the freedom rallies in London. An example would be when I posted a photo on my Instagram that corrected the misinformation presented by the mainstream media. The BBC, Daily Mail and The Sun all reported the May 29th freedom rally as only being hundreds of people. In reality, there are approximately 1 million people walking the streets of London. I will admit that during the pandemic, my life has been quite hard. Not because of mental health or because of schooling, because of course we've had online school, but because I'm living in 2 different worlds. Away from my house, I live in a world where everyone complies. I can't exactly have my freedom of speech because I know that whatever I say, I will be judged. But in my house, I can say whatever. My parents do not comply with the rules at all. So it's quite tough. So I've decided to be impartial. I don't put out my opinion unless I strongly believe in it. For example, the police brutality. That is something I believe in and I'll back up for myself. However, during the time when I'm not at home, when I'm out with friends, I can't talk about that with anything because I know I will be judged, criticised, and probably lose some of the friends that I have. You might ask why independent journalists are censored. I don't actually know. I don't think anyone knows. We can only make assumptions because we're not the people censoring them, and whenever we ask, they don't give us a reply. I can only assume it's because they are afraid that the public will actually see what's really going on. Either that, or they just want to manipulate. On Thursday the 10th of June, I uploaded a video on my YouTube showing of photography efforts made on May 29th. 8 hours later, that post was removed due to a violation of the medical misinformation guidelines of YouTube. Similarly, on Wednesday the 16th of June, a video of Piers Corbyn citing a speech on vaccinations was taken down once again violating the medical misinformation guidelines. Whilst it seems like a valid reason to remove a video or post, the message I received stated it persuaded people to go against the guidelines put in place by the government, which it didn't. I don't believe it's necessary to take down a video when its purpose is journalism and approve songs that can be triggering by perhaps mentioning suicides and abuse. I don't understand why paedophilia can be encouraged. Paedophilia accounts can target children on any type of social media. When you report them, they say that they've done nothing wrong. Well, neither is journalism, but we're all censored. So maybe it's just the fact that they don't like journalism, but they promote such things such as paedophilia and abuse. Media censorship is not the only issue for freedom of speech and freedom of journalism. Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, London, is a place where you're supposed to be able to present any type of speech. You're not supposed to be arrested during it. But that's not always the case. Many people who speak at Speaker's Corner now are supposed to be able to talk about anything. So why can't we talk about the pandemic? Because some people are being brutally assaulted and arrested by the police when you talk about the pandemic or something they don't like. I personally don't think this is fair, as Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner, is a place that we fought for in the 1800s for our own freedom of speech, yet they are still repressing it. It's evident that anything you may say against the police, government, or presenting different data or statistics will either get you censored or arrested without giving you a charge. By Policing and Crime Act of 2017, you could be held without charge for a maximum of 24 hours unless there's a reason you're required for further questioning. If they don't find you guilty of a charge, you are free to leave after 24 hours. This isn't constitutionally right in my opinion, because effectively they've held you for kidnap. They haven't given you a charge, they've arrested you for no reason whatsoever, just to get you away. So it's kidnap. But that's for you to decide on your own opinion. That is just my personal. The BBC website reported tens of thousands present at the Freedom Rally of April 24th. However, viewing footage taken by many journalists such as Resistance GB, Target Finder UK and Subject Access Media, we can see it's at least 750,000 people. The mainstream media reported this as much less, perhaps to avoid those who are complicit in being scared of what's going to happen. Debbie Hicks, an activist and an anti-lockdown supporter, filmed Gloucestershire Royal Hospital during Tier 3 lockdown, showing an empty hospital ward whilst it was being reported by the mainstream media as almost full. She was arrested later on for this factual footage, which obviously is not fair. If you're being told a lie, if it's in the public's interest, you're supposed to be allowed to report it. For independent journalism, you're often required to obtain a state permit. To prove you're a journalist, you really need to show them anything, even footage will do. However, even with a state permit, if you say something the police don't like, then the state permit will not apply and you'll be arrested. It can also be taken away from you, but you're only doing your job. I remember one time, Subject Access was arrested despite having a state permit and despite doing journalism. So actually, it doesn't even apply in any situation. If you're embarrassing the government or the police, or reporting on something they don't want you to report, they will arrest you, even if you prove. Using the examples I've given, it's evident that freedom of speech and expression are something we must fight for and be persistent about, especially during the controversial matters. It doesn't matter when it's within the public's interest anymore, which it should do. Even protests against paedophilia and abuse are censored or told as a half-truth by the mainstream media, if anything, even if they don't report it. They will do it on their website instead, which not many people check. Do you honestly want to live in a society where you're suppressed with your freedom of speech, expression, choice? I certainly don't. I'm 15. I should have the ability to say what I want. As long as it's no hate speech, you should be able to say what you want, as long as it's not discriminatory. I urge you to turn off your TVs. It's only feeding you lies and what you want to hear. If anything, it might not even be reporting what you need to know. Turn towards watching us, the real journalists, the ones who will not twist a story and will tell you the truth. Even if we have got a biased opinion, you can still watch us, because we will tell you the truth. We will report on the truth. We will report exact numbers, if we can, and we will report what's really going on around. I urge you to also become a journalist yourself, no matter where you live, even podcasts you can do, interviews with the homeless during the pandemic and what they believe in. Any matter, if you have a tyrannical government, if you have a corrupt police force or service, you can still do journalism. There's nothing stopping you other than the censorship, which you have to fight about. You have to stay committed, you have to stay motivated, no matter what happens. You have to stay on board and on top of it, and you have to keep on fighting for your freedom. Because if we give up, we're never going to get it back.